Hey guys, this is David Jilks, and I'm going to take you guys through a little bit of a brief tutorial on our page here. I know some of you coming in may be a little bit confused at all the information. Where do I start? Well, the first place we start, of course, is the Files section. So let's just go up here to the right-hand side and click on Files, and of course we have a great deal of information here. And so one thing we want to look at, the very first thing we want to be able to do is actually look at the actual program itself. So we click on this here and we'll preview. So here's our Factor 3 manual. And of course, a medical disclaimer, and again, the idea coming into this program that you're not injured, right? So you can't, the whole criteria of doing Factor 3 is that you have some degree of fitness to start with, and we're just going to take you to a whole different level of training. You don't have to be a star athlete, you don't have to be 3% body fat, but you do have to be functional and be able to move and do the activities without running the risk of hurting yourself. So make sure if you're dealing with present injuries, go talk to a physiotherapist or a chiropractor, your doctor before you start. All right. And this program, you paid for it. We worked hard and designed it. But it's not for public distribution. And I know it's a common thing that for people just to hand things off, and I understand that. But really, what makes Factor 3 work is the coaching that we, of course, that we provide throughout the 90 days, and just giving somebody the workout really is irrelevant. It's actually going to do them more harm than good. So please respect the work, the hard work, integrity we put in to design this for you, and do not hand these programs off to the general public. Hopefully that goes without saying, but I'll say it anyhow. And so as you go through, I won't go through this in great detail, but as you go through, try to understand what Factor 3 is. And it's a work per unit of time. It's volume-based training, interval-based, volume-based training. So it's a great technology we designed quite a few years ago, and we just refined it to the point where, of course, we brought it to the public in September last year. So understand what you're working with, understand the program and the technology that has gone into it, and understand where the benefit is. So take the time to read the manual, right? And again, this all explains everything about the volume and who can do this. Of course, who can do this program? Those with joint-related issues, cardiac issues, and other existing health concerns should seek the advice of the primary physician before starting this or any exercise program. Factor 3 is an intense interval-based training system not suitable for the novice or beginning exerciser. Okay, but what we created though was we did create a beginner's program, but the beginner's program is for people that haven't done this style of training but have had experience with exercise prior to this. But for the person just getting off the couch, this may be a bit of a challenge. So again, it's just lots of things to consider, but please take the time, and I'm not going to go through this in great detail, but please take the time to read this, because unless you become better educated about how the system works, how you work, your physical system works, it's just not going to work, because people generally fall for all sorts of weird, silly things out there in the marketplace in fitness because, well, they don't know any different. So if you don't want to be hoodwinked, you need to know different, and our objective is to educate you. You have to be a good student. So show up here with a pencil and a pad of paper every time you walk into this program, ready to learn. Do not be a parrot, right? Parrots are never the real deal, right? Don't parrot what we're offering you. Learn it, study it, build it into your brain, because once you design it inside your brain, you'll own it in your body, and we see beautiful evidence of that. So lots of stuff to think about again, right? And understand the whole SAM process, why it works, how it works. Right, so that's your look inside. Now, oops, I lost myself here. All right. Now the next one here, let me close some of these other ones here. Got too many things going. There you go. So that's our fitness program, right? And that's the whole manual. Now, if we look at, we'll roll down here. The next one is Food 101. Whoops. Actually, let me just preview this. And healthy eating tips, and again, we have this design so that we can go through and just to give you a little bit of variety. So we look at the menus. The menus are not very the menus are very basic, not very complicated, but it's just I'm kind of a utilitarian kind of guy when it comes to food. Some people are really the more what's the word, they're more foodie, right? They're very gustatory. They like all sorts of beautiful flavors, and me personally, I'm just not that interested. It's utilitarian. I eat so much food. It has to keep me healthy. It has to keep me strong. But we had this created so we had yet you can figure out how to create some of your own dressings, and some really great ideas on how to create beautiful, healthy dressings that are homemade rather than the store-bought variety. So lots of things to pick from here. Different marinades for your various animal proteins that you use. And so some really beautiful suggestions here, and just some information on fruits, information on vegetables, right? Just so you understand, get to understand. Again, this is an education, right? This is not just show up to be a parrot. We want you to become more educated about how food works within your system, how training works, so that if you become a better student, well, then you get better results. I guarantee it. And of course, and how to cook meat and poultry and fish. So I get some really great ideas here. And again, we're not trying to be too restrictive, right? And how we do this, we're trying to give you lots of opportunity to really learn how to really make this work, so that healthy eating doesn't have to be boring. Now we have the various levels of training here: low intensity, moderate intensity, and advanced. And the biggest difference is, of course, the amount of work that you do. Low intensity course has probably, almost half of the work that the advanced would do, right? So if I click on let me click on the advanced here, just because it's got a full timetable here. So of course, here's your advanced workout. We have the videos, of course, inside the program, and you notice there's 3 exercises listed here: alternating lunges reverse, alternating oblique crunch, alternating shoulder press. So what we do, of course, we do 12 repetitions. So we do 12 repetitions of the first exercise, and then we go on to do 12 repetitions of the second exercise, and we do 15 of the second and 15 of the third, and then we go back to the first one and we repeat it again without any rest. So 3 exercises done 3 times. Of course, that gives us 9 sets, and we record the weight. So if you're holding dumbbells in your hand, then you record that weight that you're using. If you're just doing body weight, then record half your body weight. If you weigh 200 pounds, then just record 100 pounds as the weight, and that's the weight you'll use in each of these ones. For all body weight exercises, simply just put in half your body weight. We just need a number to work with. Right, so as you go through, so again, when you're doing these exercises, before you start your lunges, you start your timer on your iPhone or your Android, and then you shut the timer off when you've completed all 3 exercises 3 times. You've done all 9 sets, right? And so then we have the total time it took to do all 9 exercises, and at the end of the day, you can record the volume, and the volume is simply your reps, 12 reps times 3 sets times the weight. So it'd be 12 times 3 times 100 if that's the weight, and then you enter the total volume. So we have time and volume, and what we're trying to do each week is either play around with the time, do the exercise in a little bit less time. So this took you 5 minutes and 28 seconds. You want to do it in 5 minutes and 26 seconds, right? We're shaving off incrementally. We're not making massive shifts. But recording the time and the volume keeps you on track and keeps your body moving forward, right? So this is 1 full day of training, right? This is, of course, another day. So we had 3 full days of training, right? Lots of great challenges here to play around with. And make sure you fill the stuff in. We're going to ask you to post this so we see evidence that you've actually done the work, right? Again, do not be a parrot. Parrots very rarely get the benefit they're looking for in this program. All right. So again, low intensity, moderate, and if you can start at the low intensity in the beginning if you're not sure where you're at. Start with low intensity, and if after the first week you figure, well, that's not challenging enough, to go to moderate. And if you do moderate for the second week, going, okay, well, actually I'm doing better than I thought I was, then go to advanced week 3 and 4. Right? And you can jump back and forth between all of these. If you're running at a time, if you've only got 25 minutes, then hit one of the other programs and just do less work, right? The whole idea is that, of course, work with the system, work within these microcircuits, and you won't know where you're going to be until you actually start trying. All right, the menus here. So let's look at the menus. I'll bring up the female menu here, the ladies menu. And of course, if you have any dietary restrictions or health issues that may be affected by a change in diet, please contact your doctor or dietitian before making any changes, right? That should go without saying, but I gotta say it anyhow. And this is just a sample food list, right? So you can exchange a protein for a protein, a non-starch for a non-starch, and a starch for a starch. But we just gave you a list of things to think about because, well, again, if I told people just to go eat starch, we get a big question mark above their head. So we want to give you as much stuff to work with as possible. But it's just, and the dietary outline we provided, it's our suggestion. It's a big sample outline. You can follow it to a T, or you can use your own judgment, right? It's just, we can't force you to do one or the other. This is how I eat. This is how I become successful. This is how I design my body, right? So people want to know how I look the way I look. Well, this is how I do it. Now, again, not everybody here will be using Isagenix. The reason why I choose to use it, because the nutritional load is just so high. And when I have high levels of nutrition in my system, my body responds better on less calories. So I stay leaner and I stay healthier. So these, again, this is just a breakdown of some of the products that I use personally and you can use within this program. So the suggested system, of course, is the Isagenix Athletic Pack plus greens and an extra Isoline Pro, and that's for the first 2 months. And the month 3, of course, is Isagenix 30-day system. So again, just some stuff to look at and just some information. So lots of data here, right? Lots of things to look at here. And now with, of course, we have low carb, moderate calories, and this is more of a cardiovascular training day, not so much a weight training day. And we're more concerned about the combination of foods rather than the quantity. So if you don't hit 1,400 calories, you feel like you're going to explode because this is more food than you normally eat, then get the combinations in and the timing, but don't worry so much about the quantity, right? If you're taking in 1,200 calories and you're bloody well stuffed and you think you're going to explode, then 1,200 calories is fine for you. But you will find, as everybody does, 2 or 3 weeks into eating consistently, every 3 hours approximately, you're going to be eating your arm off, waiting for your next meal. So your body responds pretty quick. And when that happens, get excited because, man, your metabolism is actually working rather than being a real sluggish thing that normally it is before. So, egg whites, and of course using coconut oil for cooking, and then a piece of fruit, vitamin mineral pack, and of course Ionics. Meal 2 is, of course, your meal replacement. Meal 3, just basically your protein, a couple cups of salad, crunchy leafy vegetables, and then, of course, going through and having meal 4. This IsoPro, which is, of course, your straight protein, coconut water for the alkalinity, Isogreens, of course, for the alkalinity and the nutrition, and Replenish. And this is what I use post-training. So just for FYI, after training, this is what I use normally. We do have the Amped Recover, of course, a product that came out through Isagenix, which is a BCAA, branched chain amino acids, and it's a great product. I use that as well, but this is where I get the rest of my nutrition back in. And I find this works like a hot damn, and I really feel good. And when I use this combination of food post training, and of course meal 5, of course, brown rice. You can substitute brown rice for quinoa. A cup of mixed vegetables, and then fish, and then a vitamin mineral pack, of course, which is optional. And again, the menu is designed for a moderate output day, more like a cardiovascular day, not for your factor 3. A low calorie day, a low starch day. We put this day in because we don't want to be in a constant high calorie place all the time. We want one day, and it's almost like a cleanse day or a nutritional deficit day, where the body is actually forced to tap into other fuel stores. So again, play around with it and fit this in. I know the schedules won't be the same for everybody Monday to Sunday, and it'll be a little bit ad hoc as you figure out how this fits in your schedule. Don't worry about it. Life happens, right? And we give you the optimal design, and so there's where you're starting from, and there's optimal. You just have to be somewhere in between, right? And so that's the goal with this piece here. And so go through and take the time to look at the menus, understand what we're offering here. The cottage cheese fiasco, of course, a lot of people don't like the texture cottage cheese. You can use Greek yogurt, which I think we said before, so there's lots of options with that. So scroll through, and this is, of course, our high calorie days. These are our factor 3 days, where the calories are a little bit higher to support that level of training. All right. Now again, this is really important stuff. Make sure you read it, take the time to read it. And here's some options here, right? So options for low calorie day, about 1,100 calories. So a few different options here for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some options for moderate calorie day, and of course options for the high calorie day. All right, and again, these are recommendations, guidelines to help you make the most out of your training days, right? And it won't be always perfect, and it won't always add up exactly due to the ebb and flow of life, but the guidelines should keep you on track and well nourished throughout the program, right? So the supplements, especially the supplementation, you may have too much by the end of the month. It may have a few packets left over, or you may run out 3/4 of the way through, right? It happens. It's not an absolute. It's just it's a variable that we play around with. But again, let's use this as a guideline and help structure what you're doing so it follows kind of in step with the guidelines here. And hopefully this really helps you learn to eat healthier if that's not what you're presently doing. And certainly think about the timing, the combination, which is crucial. All right. So the video links are here, which is great because again, so the video links, you simply click on it, and the video links to the 3 different exercise components are there, which is wonderful. We also have a new thing that we have offered this around as a part of your program is the IAM project. And the IAM project I developed probably starting in 2010 or maybe a little bit earlier, when actually 2008, there we go. And the IAM project is based on the science of neurolinguistic programming, right? So, and neurolinguistic programming is actually the science of how we think. And really, it's an amazing technology. So what I'm going to be doing is, again, print this off, have it bound, and go through and start reading it. And what I'm going to do is teach you how to run your own brain, right? And we do that through the acronym SAM through our training, but we're also going to look at not only our physiology, but we're going to look at our psychology and how our brain functions when it comes to self-image and getting away from self-defeating patterns. So take the time to read it, and then we're going to go through this in detail. We're going to do a weekly little blast here, probably in the second week. The programs will start in the second week in May. I'm going to be doing a live broadcast here on our Factor 3 page and going through this stuff here. And it'll all be recorded as well, so you can have the opportunity to watch it at your leisure. But if you can be hands-on with the program as we're running it, that'd be great as well. All right, so take the time to print that off and have a read through it. So again, it's a great educational process here for you guys. Hopefully you take advantage of the information we're providing. Stay on the page. Make sure you comment. Tell us what you're doing. If you're having a lousy day, tell us you're having a lousy day, but tell us what you're going to do about it to make it better. And we find the people who engage on the page the most are the ones that really have the greatest success, because they're engaged and they're allowing themselves to be supported, right? So make sure that you offer your your education. Make sure you offer your support. Make sure you offer your epiphanies and anything else that you can come up with. Because again, what makes this program work is not so much just the great technology we've created, but also the support and the camaraderie between all the members here. So appreciate you coming on board with Factor 3, and again, we're just a couple days away from beginning. So we're really excited to launch this, and let's look at an exciting 90 days of absolute powerful transformation, and let's show the world how this really works.